Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and this is my life in genre. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, a rather extensive tag for you today. This is the My Life in Genre tag. This was a tag originally created by Lekden over at Reading from the Depths. And I was tagged by Lekden in this as well, so thank you very much for that tag. But yeah, this is a tag that is less about the books and more about the booktuber behind those books. Behind that bookish content. It's a little bit of a chance to share a little bit more about me. And it uses questions sort of around literary genres and subgenres. It's kind of the inspiration to go a little bit deeper. There are several ways to complete this tag. It has 60 questions to pick from. I'm not doing them all, don't worry. And Lekden has all the instructions and all the questions on his original tag video in the description, and also in a pinned comment because there's too many to fit in the description. That's how big it is. So if you are interested in seeing all of the questions, etc., then hop on over to Lekden's video. Go there and watch it anyway. It's fantastic. But if you want to know all the questions, that's where they will be. They won't be in the description for my video because there's too much. But yeah, he's given some instructions on how to complete the tag, and suggests picking 10 questions in a variety of ways. You could do it as a genre agnostic generalist and pick 10 genres and answer the general question for each of those, or a genre agnostic specialist, so you could pick 10 genres and answer a question from one of the subgenre questions from each. You could be a genre partisan, so choose your two favourite genres and answer all of the questions associated with them. Or he says, this is the internet, there are no rules, do whatever makes you happy. So I will sort of do a little bit of what makes me happy. I am a genre agnostic for sure. I have my favourites, but I do like to read stuff from a lot of different genres. But there are, as I say, there are 60 questions, and trying to get me to choose just 10 it's an impossibility. So what I will do is answer the general question for 10 genres, and then also 10 subgenre questions as well. So you're getting 20 answers from me today. But so, yeah, there's so many great questions. I couldn't kind of pick, to be honest. So I'm gonna do more than 10. So let's get into these questions then. So the first genre is horror, one of my favourites. So the general question for this is, what scares you? Sharks, as a lot of you will know if you've watched the channel before, in visual form. I can read stuff about sharks, and I enjoy it, but the appearance of them is instant nightmare fuel. I cannot watch films about sharks, documentary or horror movies. Absolutely not. That's what kicked it off, was watching Jaws way too young. As I get older, I am increasingly afraid of heights. Never used to be, but that's something that's come with age. And actually, I'll rephrase that. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling from height. If I feel kind of enclosed, if I feel safe at height, even if it's a really high height, I'm okay. I don't get vertigo just from looking down or anything like that. But if I don't feel secure, if I feel like I could fall, then that induces panic extremely quickly. I think in terms of, kind of the sort of bigger things, the sort of big picture things that I'm legitimately sort of scared of rather than just anxious, because I am quite an anxious person about a lot of things. But something that legitimately scares me is just the direction in which we are heading as human beings. Whether that's in terms of society or, climate, things like that. Just what the future holds is very uncertain. just the state of kind of, open hatred for others and lies and oppression and, violence and all that kind of stuff just seems to have grown, in the last 10, 20 years. And it scares me. It really does scare me. We seem to be moving backwards as opposed to forwards in terms of progress and all that kind of stuff. And I find that really scary. But I do still try and find the positive in things, for sure. And yeah, I think you just kind of got to just take one day at a time with all of that stuff. Okay, the next question is the subgenre question for horror, and that's the one I've picked is folk, which is, when is a time when you felt like you entered a space not designed for you, and how did you navigate it? To be honest, most gendered spaces are not spaces that feel like they're designed for me. And the one that comes to mind is when I went to a local gym a while ago, and was quite surprised to find that the locker rooms were communal, so no private changing areas and no private showers. The showers were also communal, just this big space with shower heads around the walls. And I can't use that. I certainly can't use the showers for sure. That's not happening. And even just the communal changing room, it's like, no, that's not comfortable for me. I am different, should we say? So I don't want to be in that position, and be on show in that position, be exposed. That's not a comfortable space for me, and there wasn't any kind of other sort of space for me to use at the gym to get changed. So yeah, that's not a space I like. How did I navigate it? I just went to the gym only when I knew I could go home straight afterwards and use my own private facilities for changing and showering, even if it meant getting on the train all sweaty and disgusting. It just meant I couldn't go to the gym before going on to a meeting and things like that because I had nowhere to get changed. So it was an irritation more than anything else, but that kind of thing does always just make me acutely aware of difference, and just kind of makes me it just disappoints me, just because it's like there was no other option. I'd not, the fact that people like me exist hadn't even been thought of and taken into account. So yeah, that's something where it niggles me a lot. So yeah, that's definitely one that springs to mind. I've had a few like that. I mean, hospital wards are another one. I've had particularly poor experience on a male hospital ward before, because of that gender difference. So yeah, that sort of space. I don't think I'm ever going to be comfortable with that. Okay, moving on to the next genre then is science fiction. What is something you have done that is beyond belief? Something you didn't think you could accomplish until you actually did it. The obvious thing is transitioning. That felt completely impossible to me. First of all, I didn't even know if it was a possible option. It didn't feel like a possible option for a long time. And then it kind of had to be a possible option because it was literally do or die. And then even when I kind of got on the road, through the process, there's so many kind of hurdles, spanners in the works, all that kind of stuff. It took so long that it always felt like, was it ever going to be possible to get to a point where I was kind of done and kind of happy, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it took some time, but I got there. And when I got there, it was kind of a shock to finally get there, to be honest. A nice shock, but it was a shock nonetheless. But yeah, to be honest, after transitioning, I don't think anything has ever felt impossible again. I think that's probably the biggest sort of thing that I've ever had to do, and probably will remain the biggest thing. So nothing after that, and that's the bonus of it, is that nothing after that ever felt as hard as that, or as impossible as that. Okay, and the subgenre question for science fiction that I've picked is apocalyptic or dystopian. What skill or personality trait makes you invaluable to your friend group? I think in the kind of in the real world, I think probably I'm always, I always try and find the positive in things. I'm endlessly enthusiastic, which I think goes a long way. um, I always try and find kind of, solutions to problems, things like that. Um, in an actual apocalyptic dystopian sort of setting, I think my ability to turn my hand to almost anything, it would probably be a good skill to have in a group. Um, I'm very much a jack of all trades. I can pick up pretty much anything and run with it and learn it and kind of get to a decent level, a competent level with anything. Certainly practical stuff. Um, I'm pretty confident in my abilities to kind of pick up whatever I want and have a good go at it and learn it. I will never ever be a master of anything. I am very much that adage, jack of all trades, master of none. Um, but I don't mind that because I prefer to just be a really good generalist. So yeah, I think that would serve me well in an apocalypse, being able to adapt quite quickly. And I think that would serve any group that I was with well as well. Um, okay, the next genre then is fantasy, and the general question is, what excites you? Ideas excite me. Ideas and the possibilities that come with ideas. I think whether that's creative ideas, inspiration, that kind of thing, and the possibilities that come from that. What can I create? The possibilities that come with learning, new knowledge, gaining new knowledge, that kind of thing. New ways of thinking about the world, the possibilities of, opening my eyes to something new or a new, kind of perspective, that kind of thing. The ideas and the possibilities that come with those ideas, that's what fires me up. That's definitely what excites me. The subgenre question for fantasy that I've picked is urban fantasy. What is one magical ability you would like to have? Shape shifting. I would love to be able to shapeshift. I would love to be able to shapeshift into kind of other animal forms. So, like, become a bird and see the world from heights and, fly across the world. But, really like becoming something really small, and being able to explore the sort of the realms of the natural world that we as humans cannot get into. Underground, through the earth, things like that, and like into sort of spaces like into the bark of trees and inside things that we cannot get into, and see the world in a very different way, in parts of the world that we can't see otherwise, experience the world in a very different way, from a very different scale, or a very different perspective. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love that. Okie dokes, the next question then, the next genre is thriller and suspense. And the general question is, what makes you anxious or keeps you up at night? Lots of things. As I've said, I'm quite an anxious person. Some of the main things, travelling. I'm not a good traveller. I like going places, but I like it when I get there. It's the travel part of it I'm not so good with. I'm not a good passenger in the car, especially if we've got to get on a motorway. Hate motorways. That makes me really anxious. I'm not good with like the time element of sort of public transport. So if I've got to catch a plane or a train or something like that, I will arrive, you know, at the airport or at the station like way ahead of time, like way ahead of time. I would much rather be early and be there and be sorted, and then have time to just chill out before my, you know, method of transport, whatever it is, leaves, than be on the last minute. Yeah, that stresses me out. Big social events where there's lots of people, weddings. Weddings are lovely in terms of, it's a celebration of the marriage, the commitment, the love, etc. But being in a venue, being at something where there's any formality, or pageantry or anything like that, and with lots of people, many of which I don't really know, and I've got to be kind of, on it socially. No, no, I hate it. I hate it. It's exhausting and it makes me extremely nervous. Okay, the subgenre question for this one I've picked then is psychological thriller. When was a time you second guessed yourself only to later second guess your second guess? Earlier today? Yesterday? Every day? I guarantee that at some point during the editing process for this video, I will second guess something that I've said. And then second guess that second guess. I am a chronic second guesser, basically. I do it all the time. I've learnt to deal with it, usually just by getting the voice in my head to shut up when it does it, and I try to ignore that second guess. But it's always there. As I say, I will forever be a second guesser. Okay, the next genre then is action and adventure. The general question is, what thrills you? Something you do for fun other than reading. Hiking. I get a huge thrill from hiking, and not in the kind of the adrenaline kind of thrill way of, tackling something really difficult, doing a really difficult hike up a mountain, a high mountain or something. I do enjoy going up mountains because I enjoy the views at the top, the kind of the reward of sort of, feeling a sense of accomplishment, that kind of thing. But that's not really how I hike or why I hike. My hiking is far more about sort of just making my way through the land. I would much rather be in a series of remote valleys making my way through mountains than climbing up one. And I like that because I enjoy that space, and the thrill of it for me comes in the feeling, the realization especially when you are in somewhere much more remote and you can't see anything but more landscape. You can't see roads or hear roads. You can't see dwellings, things like that, signs of human habitation. I love that because I just feel so small. It is a reminder of how small I am in the grand scheme of things. That this landscape is huge in terms of whether it's height and or the area that it covers, and how deep down into the ground all of the the mountains, the hills, etc. go. Just how full of life it is, how old it is, how ancient it is, the idea of deep time. All of that, just serves to make me feel like this insignificant tiny ant-like figure who is just a blip in time, and that's kind of a giddying feeling. I find I enjoy that. That's a comforting feeling as well as a thrilling feeling for me. So hiking, because that really is what thrills me. Okay, and the subgenre question that I've picked for this one is disaster. It's not looting if the owners have abandoned it. Which non-bookstore store would you hit up if you had unlimited funds? Some sort of tech store where they sold like creative tech. I think the big thing that I would love to be able to get my hands on are things like 3D printers, laser cutters, kind of sort of home or studio manufacturing sort of machines. I have wanted a 3D printer since they came onto market years and years ago. But they're the sort of thing where it's just always been outside my budget and, probably will be for a long time outside of my budget. But I would, as I say, I'd absolutely love one because for me, I can design the stuff already. I still have the ability and the means to design it on the computer, anything that I, kind of really want. Or access it, access the files, etc. for things. It just leans into my, inventiveness, imagination, all that kind of thing, the art side of things, sculpture, all that kind of stuff. I would love to be able to just play about on the computer and then print out what I'd come up with. I love stuff like that. It's another kind of way of creating for me that I've never really had a chance to properly play with. So yeah, I would absolutely go nuts in that kind of store, with unlimited funds, and then you wouldn't see me for months because I'd just be squirreled away in my den, like printing things out and playing with stuff. Okay, the next genre then is mystery and crime. The general question is, what aggravates you? A problem you have to remedy every time it comes up. I don't really have a remedy for this, or at least I do, but it's maybe a little extreme. The thing that aggravates me, general on a day-to-day basis, I think, these days, is the amount of selfishness that I see, or just generally around. The lack of complete lack of consideration for how one's actions affect someone else adversely. That can be because of obliviousness as well, which is also really annoying. Just generally the attitude though that like I'll do what I want when I want. I'm entitled to do so, and balls to anybody else. And how it affects them. That's that because it's rude, and I don't like rudeness. And because it doesn't take much just to think, just to stop and think. It doesn't cost you anything to just stop and think, how is what I'm doing, or how might what I want to do affect someone else, and their ability to enjoy their life, or what they're doing. It just doesn't take much. So yeah, that's definitely a source of aggravation on a regular basis. The remedy for that is move as far away as possible from other people. Be a hermit, basically. Which my wife and I do kind of plan to do to a certain extent. We do plan to move away to somewhere that is far, a lot more remote from where we are now, and therefore just not surrounded by quite so many people on a regular basis. And I think we can potentially be, we will generally be less grumpy than if we do that. But it's not a quick fix, at all. It's a plan for the future. I'll tell you something quite petty actually as well, that aggravates me, and this is very much a me problem. It's the way that my wife cuts cheese, like a block of cheese, drives me nuts because she cannot cut it straight. She cuts it on an angle, like a gradient sort of angle, and it's always bumpy as well. It's never just cut straight down. She says it's because she's left-handed, but I don't buy that excuse. I'm sure there's plenty of left-handed folks out there who can cut cheese straight, but it's like it drives me nuts. It's one of those things that drives me nuts. Because I like my cheese extremely even, and not thin, but just even. And trying to get that even when I'm working with this bumpy like angle. Yeah, but as I say, that's a me problem, not a her problem, really. And I'm sure there's 100 things that she finds aggravating about me and the way that I do things. And really, I haven't got a lot to complain about with her, so I'll give her the cheese. Okay, the subgenre question then for crime and mystery is procedural. Do you find sticking to a regular routine to be liberating or stifling? If it's my routine, if it's one that I've come up with, I wouldn't say liberating necessarily, but it's good for me. It's, I do have a routine for some things. My routine tends to change every couple of months. I need to mix it up. And I always leave space in every day for like structureless things, a structureless period of time, because too regimented a regime is not good for me. If I need to follow someone else's routine, someone else's kind of laid out timeline, or something that someone else has structured for me, that's really stifling. I'm not good with that at all. That makes me like really anxious, to be honest. That feels, no, I don't like that at all. So yeah, if it's my own, we're good. If it's someone else's, no, it's stifling. Okay, next genre is humour. General question is, what delights you and or makes you laugh? My friends and family, first and foremost. There's a lot of different sort of senses of humour across all of my friends and family, but I think for every single one of them, there is an element of either kind of like sarcasm, dryness, deadpan kind of humour, and that's what always really makes me laugh. I think all of my friends are naturally funny people, as opposed to they're trying to be funny. They are just like naturally funny folks, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm drawn to them. So yeah, friends make me laugh a lot and bring me a lot of delight. Um, Animals, yeah, animals again really make me laugh. My pets make me laugh so much. They drive me nuts as well, but they make me laugh. Um, and sort of other animals as well. Donkeys, I love donkeys. Donkeys bring me so much joy when I see donkeys. And if I eventually get, land, enough land, a property with a bit of land where I can have some rescue donkeys, a field somewhere in Scotland, I will be having rescue donkeys for sure. And food absolutely delights me. I am a huge lover of my food, and it has been known to make me laugh if it's that good. The taste of something particularly amazing can make me laugh. So yes, all of those things are delightful. And the subgenre question for humour then is anti-humour. Everyone is so cool these days. Everything has to be so ironic. What is something that you enjoy unironically? Um, I mean, my answer is similar in some respects to Gareth's answer from Books, Songs and Other Magic. He went for this question in his response, and he went with male voice choirs, Welsh male voice choirs. Um, and mine is a similarly regional musical one, but mine is brass bands, which are a very northern thing, a northern British thing, and largely connected to the mining industry, the mining days. Um, the collieries, there was a colliery brass band for a lot of the pits, and obviously when the pits closed, a lot of them kind of disappeared, but some were kept going, and others formed as well, and it's a very much a cultural thing, I think. And I played in a brass band when I was a kid. When I was a youngster, we had a youth brass band, and it's not cool at all. It's very naff to a lot of people, but I love it, and there's nothing ironic in my love for it. I just love it. It's the sound of a brass band, whether it's because of the actual the actual physical sensation that you get when you hear that kind of, I mean, the richness of the sound from the brass instruments is phenomenal. Whether it's the way that it actually goes through you physically or not, but there's something so emotional about listening to a brass band. Yeah, it's something that I just love. I can still, I still love to listen to it, especially live. And we're not talking marching bands necessarily here. It's a different sort of thing. There's a particular sort of music that kind of gets played by sort of British brass bands. But yeah, there's nothing ironic at all in my love for that music. Okay, next genre is non-fiction. What inspires or motivates you? Lots of things inspire me. Inspiration can come from anywhere, certainly creative inspiration. Nature and my time spent in nature certainly inspires me in terms of inspires positivity, inspires thought, inspires creativity, inspires like a sense of peacefulness, calm. that's my spiritual place. I think that's kind of, that's how nature inspires me. My friends inspire me. They inspire me to kind of be a better person, be who I am, and be a better person, a better version of myself. In terms of what motivates me, deadlines. Yeah, deadlines. In terms of motivating me to get things done, yeah, I need a finite period of time on something. If it's an open-ended thing, it doesn't matter how into something I am. I will tits around forever. If I've got a deadline for something and I need to get something done, I'll get it done. So, and I do like that. I've tried setting my own deadlines for stuff just for me, but it doesn't work because I can always move them, and it's always easier to go, oh, it's my own deadline. But if it's somebody else's deadline, no, I have to get it done. That works. So that's that kind of motivation, deadlines. Okay, the subgenre question for non-fiction then that I've picked is spiritual and self-help. Outside of reading, what does an afternoon of self-care look like? If the weather's good, outside hiking. As I say, that's where my kind of spiritual sort of side goes, and my thrill as well. But indoors, if I just want to just if I just need to just chill, then video gaming is definitely something I use to kind of calm my mind, just kind of get out of myself for a bit, just give myself a bit of complete just fun entertainment playtime. Playing is so important, I think, for like self-care. We need to play, I think, as adults. So yeah, gaming is one of those things. But one of the things I do love to do is is come upstairs to this space here, to my loft, stick something, some comfort programs on the computer, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or something like that, or a crappy action film that I love, things like that, or kids film, and make some models, do some modeling. So whether that's little kind of wooden model kits or Warhammer painting, that kind of thing. So do some kind of creative stuff in that respect, or do some needlework. I find that incredibly sort of calming, focusing, just kind of get me out of my head a bit, and doing it whilst I'm kind of got some comfort viewing on as well. That's really important. So yeah, it is stuff that is just kind of it's stuff that takes me back to childhood, basically. Just kind of return to that kind of state of mind, which is about play and no worries and all that kind of stuff. And it always feels so much better when I've given myself that time to just do that kind of thing. Okay, next genre then is literary fiction. What's something you like to take your time with? Thinking. I love a good think. Just by that I just mean sitting and thinking, nothing else. I need time for that, and I need to make time for that. I will often sit at the weekend with some like nature relaxation videos on from YouTube. So it's just very, very chilled, sort of relaxing music and some nice pretty mountain scenes. So it's not distracting, it's just something. And literally just sit and think. I won't be doing anything else. Not playing on my phone, nothing like that. Just literally just sitting quietly and processing. And whether that's actually processing some stuff I need to process actively, like stuff I need to think through, whether that's writing in my head, whether that's dreaming, or thinking about stuff maybe a little bit more in terms of like philosophically, figuring out plans, all of that kind of stuff, where I just need to let my brain just kind of do its thing for a bit. Because there's so much crap in there that if I don't sit down and actually give myself time to actually sort through it and have a bit of a clear out, it gets a bit much if I don't actually give myself that time. And so yeah, I do like to take my time over just sitting and thinking. I do that every morning. I just give myself like 20 minutes just to sit and think. Then I watch a bit of booktube and bring myself back to the world, and then I crack on with my day. That's really important to me, that I always take my time doing that. Okay, the subgenre question for that one then is family or generational drama. What's something that you've inherited from your parents or ancestors? Not an object, but an outlook, character trait, that kind of thing. From my mum and dad, I think I am very much a 50-50 kind of amalgamation. um, they're both quite realistic and pragmatic people. But my mum is pretty much all optimist. And my dad is pretty much all pessimist. So and I sit pretty much in the middle. You are always more likely to see my optimistic side on here, but the pessimist is there. I just try not to listen to it quite so much, but it is difficult at times. But I do always have them. They are always sat on my shoulder, chatting into my ears. The both the optimist and the pessimist. So yeah, I'm definitely a balance of my mum and dad. I think in terms of that, there are other kind of outlooks, traits, that kind of thing. My mum's kind of creativity, creative drive, the importance she places on imagination and creativity and that kind of stuff. I've definitely got that from her. Definitely inherited that. And my dad, I think, because he is more of the pessimist, he also he likes to figure out what can possibly go wrong with every given situation and kind of have a plan ready to go with that. And I've definitely inherited that. Not just, I think, potentially through, sort of character traits, but also just the way that he's kind of raised me. That kind of like make sure you got a plan, make sure you know what you could do in any given situation. I do that. I absolutely do that. I do the what if scenarios and come up with plans for the weirdest and most wonderful horrible things so that I'm not going to get blindsided by things. I'll always have a plan. So I think that comes from my dad. So yeah, those are the things that come to mind first and foremost when I think about from my parents. Okay, final genre then. Nearly there. This one's poetry. The general question is, what's something ordinary or mundane that you find beautiful or extraordinary? Geometric forms, like visually speaking, like from sort of the primitive shapes of circle, square, triangle, through to the sort of infinitely complex, like fractal geometric forms. I just think they're all like beautiful, and the fact that they're everywhere, they are the building blocks of everything. Certainly in my mind, that's how I see things, is kind of as an amalgamation, as a construction of these various different geometric forms. And I just, because that's the way my mind works, the way that my kind of visualization works, I find them beautiful. I find them really beautiful. And as I say, extraordinary, just in the fact that it is how the world is made up to me. Okay, and the final question then, the subgenre question for poetry, is sonnet or haiku. What is something in your life where form is as important as function? That is to say, the way you go about doing something is as important as getting the thing done. My artwork, for sure. The process matters just as much as the outcome. it is, in fact, in some ways, the process is more important than the outcome. The art is really in the process, and it does matter to me how it is done. I think to be honest, I'd apply that to a lot of things, including life in general. Like, what I what I want, what I envisage myself or my life looking like, down the road, 20, 30 years down the road. What I want to be, what I want to become, what I want to achieve, all that kind of stuff. That's important, and I want to get there to that, kind of future dream person that is, me. But what's really important is the journey that I take along the way and how I live my life in the process. It's not an A to B, get there as quick as you can, at the cost of anything else. It's a winding, kind of messed up path that kind of, it's a bunch of messy threads that all kind of dance around and take a meandering route to that point. There's still a plan to get there, but it's the journey in getting there is just as important as actually trying to get there in the first place. Is what I'm trying to say. So there we go. That's it. That's the end. I promise. That's the end of the questions. So thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed that little waffle of mine and some more information about me as opposed to my reading habits for a change. I won't tag anyone in this. I've seen a few folks that I would have tagged do it already, or I've seen that they've been tagged already. But if you fancy doing it, then do pop on over to Lekden's original tag video that will be in the description. Check out all of the instructions and stuff and pick your 10 questions. As I say, there's plenty of questions to pick from. It's a really good one, really fun one in that respect. You don't have to pick, any deep, meaningful questions. There are plenty of fun questions, or you can go all deep and meaningful. It is entirely up to you. That's the great thing about it. So I won't tag anybody. I'll just, say the usual thing of if you like the sound of it, consider yourself tagged. So thank you very much for watching today. Do drop your thoughts in the comments below. It's always lovely to hear from you. I will be back a week today. I'm not going to have a video out on Friday. I'm away on holiday, lucky me, for the week, so I won't get a chance to film anything. But I will be back next Sunday with my thoughts on The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. So I do hope you will join me for that then. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.